And we are live. And we have difficulties. So let me add and remove myself from the stage. All right. You guys are going to be able to see the unquality camera. So let's change this right quick. All right. Now you can see me. Welcome to FinLit Live. This is the show where we talk about personal finances, and we are excited to have a show today because we're talking about FICO scores to pay off debt faster and how to save money. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our guests and get lit. All right. Today we have Althea Morris.
Hi, everybody.
How's your evening going?
My evening is going fantastic. How about yours?
Fantastic. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Sound like you had a crazy day today to be on the show.
It was kind of crazy, but good. Crazy, but good.
I'd rather be busy than bored, right?
That's true.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? And what are you up to?
Okay, my name is Althea Morris. I've been in Houston, Texas all my life, actually, since I was 3 years old. So I'm not going to tell you where I was born because it doesn't matter. I am a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent for 38 years. I'm also a financial coach. So some of the information we're going to be sharing this evening, it comes from experience.
Absolutely. It's good to have experience. How many years of experience do you have?
38 years in real estate and 16 years in financial services.
Wow. And we're in an unprecedented market, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
The prices are the highest and the interest rates are the highest.
Yes, it's the highest. I've seen it in a long time, but you got to realize that back in the day, people were buying houses when the interest rates were 10%, 11%, 12%. So we got it good still, at below 10%. So,
oh yeah, that's true. But the houses were like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 too.
That's true.
Versus $400,000.
It's called inflation. So thank you, government.
Absolutely. Anytime they print money, somebody has to pay for it.
Exactly, and we're paying for it until they get it to where they have it under control. We won't have it under control.
Correct. So our topics for today are FICO score, paying off debt faster, and there's a special program here in Houston, Harris County for getting into a house. So let's start at the top. Like, what are your tips and tricks for FICO score? What can you help us with?
Well, first of all, I want to say this to you. In America, FICO score is very, very important. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you got a person that's got debt of 20,000 and you got debt of 20,000, but they have a score of 720 and you have a score of 620. Then you're going to pay out more than that person with the 720 score because their FICO score is higher. So when you get ready to buy a house, car, credit cards, anything like that, and you have a low score, then they're going to actually make you pay by having a higher interest rate. So FICO scores are important, even when you're getting car insurance. If your FICO scores are low, then your payments every month on your insurance for your car is going to be higher. Same thing with your homeowner's insurance. So FICO scores are very, very important. So if you're looking to get in the market as a home buyer, pretty soon, really soon in the next, say, month or so, then you have to make sure that your FICO scores are at least a 620 and above.
620 above? And
yes.
How do you accomplish that? Like, what if somebody doesn't know how to
say that again?
Like, what are some tips?
Say it again because you froze a little bit.
So what are the pointers for that? Like, what are some tips and tricks if somebody does have a lower FICO score and they want to get it higher?
Okay. A lot of people think that you going in and deleting negative information off your credit report is going to boost your scores up. And it does somewhat, but only maybe about 10%. The only thing that actually boosts your scores up, unfortunately, quicker than anything else, is a credit card. A credit card boosts your scores up maybe by 40 points. But what I suggest to my clients is this: if you have to go that route and get the credit cards to boost your scores, go ahead. But your utilization is going to be very important. For instance, if you get $1,000 limit, credit limit on a credit card, never get that limit up to 500, because if you do, it's going to drop your scores. So if you got the limit, keep the limit low. Charge you some gas, pay it when it comes in, let them report on your credit, and that will jack it up really, really fast. But after you get your house, I highly recommend that you don't keep the high interest credit cards, because if you do, you can start to get in trouble because of the 28, 25, 29% interest that they charge you.
Absolutely. So the key is to keep it under 30% utilization, correct?
Correct.
And really 10% utilization if you want to have immaculate credit.
Correct. That's
so
it.
basically, if somebody has $1,000 limit, they want to keep it under 10%, so $100, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Nice.
And your FICO score actually determines, when you're getting a loan for a home, whether you're going to be forced to go with FHA, or you're going to be forced, or you can go with conventional. Now, it's getting kind of technical when I get into that. A lot of people go for the FHA loans because of the lower interest rate and the higher debt to income ratio. But my thing is this: you got to think about this with FHA. With FHA, you got to pay a mortgage insurance premium upfront, which is usually about $2,000, $3,000 added to your loan. And then you got to pay $100, $200 a month for the rest of the duration of your loan. Whereas if you get a conventional loan, and let's say you're not putting a whole lot down, once your house gets 20% equity into it, the MPI goes away. You don't have to pay that MPI for the rest of the duration of your loan. And what I want to say to people here is this: let's say you got a 6% interest on your home. When you actually going in there and paying on that principal of that home, you paying really less than 6% interest, because you're knocking down that principal. And when you knock down that principal, you can pay it off quicker. So don't take 30 years to pay for your home, because you're going to pay a lot more for it. If you go in on with a $200,000 house loan and you take 30 years to pay for it, you're actually going to be paying more like $500,000 for the home because of the interest. Yes.
That's crazy. And the higher the interest rates, the more people are paying.
Exactly.
Wow. So for the FHA loan, you mentioned the MPI, mortgage protection insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And is it possible that if you start off with the FHA, that you could refi later to a conventional loan? And
That's
if you
exactly.
have 20% equity,
Yes.
you could get rid of the MPI. Is that a possibility?
That is I tell my clients that all the time: do it. If you can get rid of it, refinance and go with the conventional, and it gets rid of the MPI. And you know, it makes a difference in the house note.
Yeah.
And what's really great now is that we just passed in Harris County where the taxes are going to go down. Isn't that?
Let's go.
Actually, it's going to be lower. So good. I'm glad we got out and voted and passed that bill, because it's actually going to be lower. And with that being said, I want to say this, because I see a lot of loans where people they're trying to sell their homes, and I look at the tax rate and they have not homestead. It's very, very important, if it's your primary home, to homestead, because you get a 20% or more discount on your taxes when you do that. So as soon as you at the closing table, when you finish, go and start that process of homestead to get the lower taxes.
Absolutely. And one of the things to be conscious of, because we just bought our home in 2019, moved in 2020, is there's a lot of companies that will send you letters in the mail saying that they'll set up the homestead for you, and they charge you for it. When in reality, the homestead is free. All you need is a form, and you just fill it in, and you just mail it in, and that's it.
Yes. Actually, when you're at the closing table, the title company will give you that information so that you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, don't let these people charge you $100 to fill out your homestead form when you could do it yourself.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. Good point, Darnald.
Absolutely. And so another thing you want to mention is how to pay off debt faster. Paying off debt faster, that helps with your debt to income ratio, especially if you're looking to purchase a new home. And if you have a lower debt to income ratio, they'll prove you for a higher amount for
Exactly.
your house.
Exactly.
So how can people pay down their debt to income ratio to be able to afford a bigger house?
Well, I talk to people about what I call debt stacking. And what you do is you pull your credit report and you look at your credit report. And if you got several credit cards with that high interest rate, the first thing you want to do is you want to pay off that credit card that has the highest interest rate first. So let's say you got a card that's $300 limit, but the rate on it is 29%, and you making minimum payments. They paying you they're charging you a lot of money just to have that little card for $300, right? So
Right.
pay off that card, and then once you pay off that card, when you budget in every month, that was a bill. Take that money that you was paying on that bill and pay off the next debt. And then when you pay off that debt, you take that extra money and put it on the next debt. And that's what we call debt stacking. And let's say you have a car note, right? And you've gotten rid of some of these credit cards or whatever. Take some of that extra money and put it on the principal only of that car note. And you'll pay that car off. If you got a 5-year loan, you'll pay it off in maybe a year by putting in that extra on that principal. So if you debt stack even all the way down to your mortgage, once you've paid off a lot of that debt, then you take that extra money and you start putting it on the principal of that mortgage. Don't go out spending on clothes, toys, cars, whatever. Don't do that. Debt stack until you get out of debt. And then you have extra money to start building towards your retirement. Another thing I want to talk about is when you got a home is an asset. I tell people who are paying rent, you're paying more in rent than a lot of people's mortgages. And actually, you're paying other people's mortgage by doing that. So don't do that. Build equity in your home. Then, if emergencies come up, things like that, you can go get equity out of your home for whatever emergencies you need, right? And I tell people what the rich people do is this: if they got a home that's paid for, almost paid for, they take equity out of it and go build a business or buy other homes or whatever with that money, build up some money, pay it back off again, and do it again. So your house is an asset.
Absolutely. So what you mentioned is very debatable. Like obviously the conventional wisdom says a house is an asset, and obviously like if you borrow against it. Are you a fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's of the opposite opinion. He's like the house you live in is a liability.
No. No,
Because
it's not. No,
he
because
said like his definition of an asset is things that put money in your bank account, and the definition of liability is things that take money out of your bank account. Like if you rent out your house, if you like do Airbnb and you use your house for income, then that's his definition of an asset. But for most people, you're just putting money into a house, and you have to do repairs, you have to do maintenance, you have to do all these things. I agree. I understand where you're coming from. For sure that a house is an asset. But
you're still using it as an asset, even if you're using it as an Airbnb to make money. You're
correct.
using that money.
That was the only way it is an asset is if you use it to make money.
Right.
But if you're just living your house without renting it out or rent out room, then he considers that a liability.
No, what I meant about that is, let's say your house is paid for, is worth $250,000. You go and get $250,000 and take it and buy 2 or 3 other homes that you're going to use to rent out. And then when you get those homes done, you take that money, put it back into your personal home. That's what I'm talking about. You've taken that equity you got and you used it to start to make money somewhere else. Because now you're buying real estate to rent out, and not your own personal home as an Airbnb, but other homes to rent out, right? And then when you start making that money, you put it back in. And what a lot of people don't know about is the self-directed IRAs. When you put your money into a self-directed IRA, as far as real estate is concerned, then you don't pay taxes and you don't pay capital gains on that money as long as it's in that self-directed IRA, because the government cannot discriminate against you because it's a self-directed IRA and not a regular IRA or a Roth IRA. So you can flip homes, take them, make money, whatever, as long as you're taking that money and putting it to that self-directed IRA, then it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what's the process to be able to set those up?
Well, now that is not my forte, but what you can do is they have a lot of companies in Houston that you can go and sit down. They have seminars and they tell you about the self-directed IRAs and how to set them up. And you actually need to set up one that is associated with real estate. That's the way otherwise, if you buying, selling, and all that capital gain, Uncle Sam is going to say, "Where's my money?"
They want
Right?
their money.
Like,
And what happens if you put a house in a trust? Like, do you still have to pay capital gains, or is that beyond your forte?
that I am not an attorney, so that is not my forte. So I don't get that. I stay in my lane. Okay. But I say it's a good tool for you to check into. I'll put it to you that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same way. I stay in my insurance lane, and my specialty is supplemental insurance. So that's my expertise. Been doing it over 13 years now. And any other insurances, I delegate out to other people and refer business to other insurance agents.
Right.
So,
And for anybody that's on here that, I know it's a process. When you are buying a home, your first time home buyer, it can be overwhelming and it's a process. But the first thing you need to do, I say, is, if go and work with a realtor. A lot of people don't think it's good, but it's a good idea to work with a realtor. And the second thing is to make sure you pre-qualified and pre-approved before you start going out there visiting any homes, because if you haven't done your debt to income ratio and you don't know how much house to buy, you out there looking for a house that may be under what you need or over what you need. So that way, if you get the pre-approval, it lets you know this is how much house you can qualify for. Okay. And it may be a special situation that would keep you from purchasing your home. So that's the kind of thing. That's why you need to know this before you start looking. Start that looking process. Know that. They want to know if you're legally married. I run into people who are legally married that don't understand that Texas is a community property state. So if you just separated and you're not divorced, you still got to get that spouse to sign off on the paperwork because it's a community property state. Okay. So that's important to know. And it's important to make sure you have all your income in there so that you debt to income ratio. And I also want to talk a little bit about people with student loans, because this is what they come across. If you got a lot of student loans going on and you're trying to buy a house and you have not combined those student loans, or you haven't gone in and gotten amortization to say, based on your income, this is how much you're going to pay, they're going to take 1% of whatever your student loans are. That's how they're going to use it. And that'll knock them out and disqualify them right away.
wow.
So if you go and do the amortization schedule and say, hey, this is what my payment's going to be every month based on my income, your payments may be $200 a month versus the $800 or $900 would be with the 1% that knocks you down.
It's incredible. So it seems like there's a lot of things you have to be conscious of when you're going through the mortgage process and trying to be approved. And
a lot of them think that they can't buy because they don't have down payment. I'm not a big fan of the down payment assistance programs. They're good for certain situations, but people have 401ks on their jobs, and you can go get what you need as a down payment off your 401k, and they will not penalize you because you're buying a home.
that's actually how I bought my first condo in California. I spent 15% towards my 401k, and I was only 25 years old, and then I was able to buy a condo in California at the age of 25.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, so I like that.
Very good advice. And then the last thing you wanted to mention is in Harris County and Houston specifically, there's programs out there for people. What are those about?
Yes, and I just got a note today to say they kind of like put the Harris County on pause for right now. They're going to pick it back up in another 90 days. So if you do have FICO score situations or things like that, take the next 90 days to get them where you need to be, because they have the good programs out there. They developed these programs. City of Houston has one and Harris County has one. And they've developed these programs for low to moderate income people to still be able to purchase a home. Now, I'll give you an example of one that I've been involved with recently, where they did the Harris County program. Harris County approved them for $150,000. So this particular person was a 3-family income person. So now he was able to go out and look at a $270,000 home, and they were actually going to put $150,000 towards it. So he's actually really, the loan amount is much lower. So that puts it in the category where he can, afford it. So they got those programs out there for the people that think that they cannot buy. I say go for it. Fill out the paperwork. Sometimes it's a pain, but it'll be worth it in the end.
So how would people be able to get more information on a program like that? Obviously, you said they're on pause for the next 90 days, but how would people be notified when it does?
Well, if it's okay for me, I'll give you them my email and I'll give them my phone number and they can contact me. My phone number is 832-498-8016. My email address is Althea, ALTHEA MORR @AOL.com. And I will send them the information. I even have a lender. I'm thinking she's on here. Her name is Kashana Bray. She works for Origin Bank. She is one of the lenders that is approved for the City of Houston and the Harris County program. And so we will piggyback and let them know exactly what they can do to get to those programs.
I love it. That was a great hook. Like, I want to send you my email just so I can get the information.
Okay.
So is it just for first-time home buyers, or can you be existing home buyer and utilize the program? How does that work?
No, it's for low to moderate income people who are trying to get into a home. So you can't be an existing home purchaser and go through that program. Sorry. No, not for investors.
Like,
no.
I want to buy my rental property.
But you might can put your, no, they want it for sale. They're not looking for rentals. But the thing about it is you can buy homes within City of Houston, and they're building this to build up these areas like 5th Ward, 3rd Ward, Acres Home, Northeast, different places like that. They're trying to get them where their homes, being built by the builders. If the builders are building, let's say 100 homes or 200 homes, so many of those homes have to be into the program in order for them to build in this program. So that's a win-win for them too. So.
Absolutely. I know in the Humble area, they were forced in a low-income residential neighborhood, and the residents, the local citizens of Humble, were not too happy about it. So,
but Humble is still in Harris County, so yeah, you take advantage of the program,
Absolutely.
But not for 90 days. So don't call me and say, hey, can I do? No, they put it on pause. Harris County did for 90 days. I'm not for sure about the City of Houston, but I'll find out.
That'd be awesome. So yeah, definitely reach out to her if you want more information about the program. And any last thoughts before we wrap up here?
Yes, I just want to say thank you all for getting on tonight and listening. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you got some nuggets from it. And if you're not a homeowner, I highly recommend that you get started on the process. Like I said, I've been doing this for 38 years. I've seen the ups and downs that have gone on in Houston, Texas. It's not going to always be this way. It always turns back around again. So I thank you so very much. And I thank you, Darnell, for letting me be on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always hope. And hopefully this market turns around quickly. But it's kind of catch-22. I was talking to another realtor earlier. He's like, yeah, if the interest rates start dropping, then there's a pent-up demand that's happening. A lot of people want to buy houses, but they just can't afford it. And so once the interest rates drop, that means there's going to be a lot more buyers in the market.
Exactly. You're right. But that's a good thing, inventory may be low, but it's still a good thing, And the last thing I want to say is this time of year, people, it's the holidays and things like that. But I always found that this is the best time of year to purchase a home, because this is the time of year where everything's slowed down for the builders. People's homes are staying on the market longer, right? So this is the time for you to get the best deal that you possibly can get, because they're motivated. The builders are motivated. They're giving all kinds of incentives, and they're actually buying down the interest rates down to 5%, 4%. So it's a good time to buy.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And just hang out in the lobby while I wrap up the show.
Okay, sure will. Thank you.
All right. So if you got any value out of today's show, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to FinLit Live. We go live every Tuesday nights. We actually have, we're going to take a break for the rest of the year, and then we'll come back in January. So happy holidays for everybody, whether happy Kwanzaa, happy Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. I definitely believe in happy Merry Christmas. It's not that they're trying to get rid of that on a personal note. But anyways, this is a show where we talk about financial literacy because they didn't teach us this in school, right? They taught us how to do geometry. They taught us how to do algebra. Some people learned how to do calculus, but they didn't teach you how to have a better credit score, right? They didn't teach you how to purchase your own home. And so that's the purpose of this channel, is to teach practical financial wisdom. And the difference between where you are and where you want to be is not just the knowledge, but you got to apply the knowledge. So if you're in that home buying stage, definitely take the advice that Althea shared with you guys and apply it, and then you'll see the results that you're looking for. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys for getting lit.